Hello and welcome back to Sherwood Park Toyota. Today we're looking at a Toyota Sienna XSE in the color silver. Let's take a look. Starting up front, underneath the hood, we have the gas component of the hybrid energy system. It is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, automatic transmission, gets up to 245 net combined horsepower and 263 pound-foot of torque, towing capacity up to 3,500 pounds. Up front, you've got your LED headlights and customary daytime running lights. Across the front bumper, you'll find these little round spots. These guys are front parking sensors. And of course, we have that blue Toyota hybrid logo. Onto the side here, you've got 17-inch alloy wheels. Then side mirrors. These guys include the blind spot monitoring system. Either one of your front handles, you'll find this little dimple there. We'll talk about it a bit more on your driver's side. The other thing you'll find on the other side as well is this little symbol down by the bottom of the door. Talk about those both on the other side. Heading back, all of your rear windows come with factory tinting, and up top you have black roof rails. On the back of the unit, on the right-hand side, you have your XSE hybrid badge. Left-hand side, you have the all-wheel drive badge. Across the back is the Sienna logo, and then underneath of this is the backup camera. To open up your cargo space, just reach next to the camera and press the button, and it should automatically raise itself upwards. Now, of course, we have both second and third row seating in this. For the second row seating, it is independent captain's chairs, meaning there is no middle seat here. We'll talk a bit more in depth about that when we get up front into that area. For your third row seating, it is a 60-40 split you can see on the right-hand side, allowing the two sides to function independently. There are 3 different positions you can have your seat set up in, and there is this diagram on the back showing you these positions and how you can achieve them using the number 1 handle and the number 2 strap, which is on both of these seats. So the different setups, you have 2 of them here. One of them is having the seat upright so that you can have passengers seated here. Second one is simply laying it down flat like we have it on the right. Third one is stow and go. So you basically would hold this by the handle, tuck it backwards, and it would lay flush into this extra deep storage cargo space because this guy dips all the way down into this space here. So you can take this, tuck it back, and if you have both sides stow and go away, it creates this large, flat bed-like surface here, which you can use for holding much larger items, as you have this huge amount of space throughout the back. For third row occupants that are sitting in here, they have access to plenty of their own cup holder, and you can see also charger spaces glowing there as well. And then on the left, you have this extra storage space, and then to the right, you have this false wall panel, behind which you can find your battery. If you have these seats up out of the space, it just creates a huge amount of extra space that you can use for any storage needs too. To close up your space back here, there is the optional kick sensor. You can use the handle or just press the electronic button. Press it once to close it and press it twice to close and lock all at once. Next, let's go take a look at the inside. To open up the second row area, you got a couple options. One of them is to press the button, the other is to pull on the handle, and the third is the kick sensor, which is what that little symbol down below symbolizes. So we're just going to give this guy a pull. You don't have to pull it all the way. It will slide itself the rest of the way over. Inside, your interior upholstery is the dual tone of the different shades of gray leatherette. The lighter gray has this more diamond-like structure to it, and then you have both gray and orange stitching on the seats as well. As stated, this is independent captain's chairs for the second row. There is no middle seat in here, which means that you can instead use this as a walkway to get to the third row seats, or simply use it for general storage needs. There is also some storage units that can be set up into this area. You'll find some little mesh pockets on the inside too, and there are armrests on the inside of both of these, which you can just flip out and out of the way if you don't want to be utilizing them. If your occupants don't want to have to walk in between to get to the third row, or if you have cargo needs that take up extra space, there are adjustments down below here on these little handles that you can use to adjust the seats to your liking. So as you can see, there's this little diagram on this guy down below that you simply reach in and lift upwards, and that allows the seats to move along these tracks you can see. So there is a huge amount of movement available for these seats to give you lots of different arrangements you can use for either cargo or passenger needs. The handle itself will be used to squish the seat upwards, so you can compact that even further. On the outside of the seats, we have even more armrest spaces. Now, looking up overhead, you will find a third and fourth zone air conditioning control panel available for your second or third row occupants to use. This allows them to customize their own temperature, fan speed, and mode. This can be controlled from up front. We'll take a look at that when we get up there. While we're facing this way, on the back of your front passenger and front driver seats, you've got pouch storage. Back of the console, you have some charger ports. Down below is your cup holder spaces. Then inside of the window, you can see it a little bit. You have this black space here. You can see inside this window as well. It's a little hard to adjust just with the door open like this. But this is your built-in sunshade. So this guy will extend upwards. It locks into place on these little hooks up top here and helps to keep the sun out of everybody's eyes without taking away from their view. As you can see when it's laid down, it goes completely flush in with your door frame. To close up your space back here, you can use the two methods we talked about before, which is using the handle with the button or pulling it out. You can use the kick sensor that you have down below, or if you go on the inside, you have this little button that is located underneath of this handle. So this guy, all the way down, you have this little button right here. If you give that a press, that opens and closes doors. The fourth option that is available to you when the door is open like this, or from the inside, is to use the handle on the inside. So just like the outside, if you give this a pull and then release, it will close itself up the rest of the way. Now, looking forward once again, on your handle you have this little dimple. This guy indicates keyless entry. So if you have the key fob on your person, you can tap your hand on the symbol or inside your handle to lock and unlock your your unit. Then in the door, power windows here for front and back. You've got your window lock, power lock system, and side mirror controls. As you can see, there is tons of different storage arrangements available inside of the unit. Inside of the door here, you have the Sienna logo built in there. And then you have your electronically adjustable seats, back, front, up, down, and lumbar support. You've got your hood release latch on the bottom left-hand corner of the dash. On top of that, you have your gas release and the power door off. So the power door off, it does what it sounds like. It turns off the power for anybody on the inside of this vehicle to be able to operate these two side doors, which means the only ways you can open them are from the outside using the key fob or the controls that you can find up overhead. We'll take a look at those guys in just a second. On top here, we also have your traction control, automatic headlamps, your heated steering wheel, you have dash brightness and odometer trip, and then a little storage shelf all the way up top. Taking a look at the steering wheel, it is black leather with orange stitching, just like the seats. Left-hand side, controls there are for the dash display. Then you have your hands-free communication and volume control. Right-hand side are radio controls, on the bottom adaptive cruise control up top. This includes both sonar and lane departure. In the middle here, you have your infotainment display screen. This is where you go to access much of the information about your daily driving experience. Right now, we are looking at the customizable home screen. Everything you see in here can be accessed through any of these side button panels. So underneath home, you have your menu. This is where you have access to customizing for destination, audio, phone app, projection, info, climate, and setup. Setup is more of the specifics, things like Bluetooth connection, phones, voice of vehicle, navigation, data, traffic, clock, language, theme color settings. You've got changes to your screen, keyboard layout, driver settings, software updates, etc. Then you have your audio listening. This is AM, FM, and satellite radio. Full Bluetooth connectivity includes Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and there's optional USB adapters throughout. Then you have your navigation or map. So this guy is fully touch sensitive for ease of use. Over to the right hand side now, you've got your apps. So you can use this to further customize your personal experience. There's lots of different things you can choose to add to this once you have the vehicle. You have your phone connectivity. So of course this is via Bluetooth to connect your personal device to the vehicle. You'd use this also for your hands-free communication. On top of that, you have your seek and track. Down below is the tune scroll button. Volume control is this guy on the bottom left-hand corner. Underneath, we have the climate control center. So up front, we have dual climate control. You can see we have listed that above each side. And then in the center is the rear controls. So you can choose to have just the rear displayed if that's what you want, just to be able to affect those guys independently. You can have them synced up or using them separately. You can also choose to adjust any of the other settings. And you can choose to have the rear synced up with the front. That way everybody works together in unison. You can turn off the sync so that everybody functions independently. There's lots of different arrangements to make sure everybody has the perfect temperature at all times. On each side up front, you'll find 3 levels for heated seat controls for driver and front passenger. In the middle is your defrost for front and rear windshields. To the left here, you have your four-ways as well as the push-start ignition. You have a little charger port down below. Then all the way across the front here, you have this built-in storage shelf. There's a bit of a divider on the right-hand side, which just ensures if you put an item on one end while you're driving, it's not going to slip down all the way to the other side. Then tons of cup holder spaces in the middle, including these little pop-away ones in the back. You've got your gear shift in the middle here. You have your parking brake and parking hold, EV mode, and drive modes. In behind, you have your console space. So press the button in and it will flip itself up and over. You can reach inside. It is super deep storage, goes all the way down. This basically goes all the way up to my elbows. It's hard to see here, but you have some additional chargers you can see glowing on the inside, which also have this little cutout, which just ensures that if you have your cords, they can be fed out of this space without getting pinched inside here. There's a couple spaces that are made specifically to be able to fit phones nicely, so this includes this little space up front here. You have this little flat space up front onto here, which has a slight bend to it or a slight tilt to it. And then, of course, you have the general storage that goes the whole way across. Underneath, you have even more storage space that goes down here, where you'll find yourself some 12-volt adapters. On the other side, down below, there is a lockable glove box. Up overhead on the rear view mirror, 1, 2, and 3 little house shapes. Those guys are your garage door openers. Then you have what looks like sunglasses compartment, but it is actually a mirror. So this guy is for anybody who is familiar with driving with lots of people in the back. Oftentimes you end up using your rearview mirror to keep an eye on your passengers. Well, that can be your problem no more. This can stay dedicated to watching traffic behind yourself as it's meant to be, while this one means you can always see with this nice bent lens what is going on inside of the whole of your cab. On top of that, you have the SOS button, overhead lighting controls up there for the moonroof. Then you have the power trunk release and power releases for each side of the doors. Thanks again, folks, for joining us on this full video tour for this Toyota Sienna XSE all-wheel drive in the color silver. It is located here at Sherwood Park Toyota at 31 Automall Road in Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. You can also reach us at 780-306-7703. And remember, life is full of choices. Let us be yours.